Hello. 12:40 a.m. Sunday, September 30th, 2012. So it's about 40 minutes into the night of Sunday, so more or less Saturday night. I'm gonna do a personal chat. I got myself a bottle of the Naked Grape, California Pinot Grigio. It's clear, and I'm gonna be smoking. I'm gonna this might be about 45 minutes, an hour long, maybe even 30 minutes. Because I haven't done something like this. I want to just relax, just let go of some, not go of some things, but I guess, I don't know. This is helpful for me in my life. I went to a garage sale today while I was waiting for my friend, and for $10 I purchased this, which is a book that I plan to use. It hasn't been opened. The book cost $15. It's designed for recording the memorable aspects of each bottle of wine. The entry pages of this journal include an easy scoring system and plenty of space for pasting in labels. A completed journal becomes a handy personal reference book for both connoisseurs and casual sippers. I'm not sure if I ever will attain the title of a connoisseur, but it's a start. It's quite fancy. In all honesty, there's a lot of pages in here, so this might be a good book. So this was part of my purchase for $10. Mom, Dad, I purchased a stapler. It came with some staples. This is like an old US staple. Swing line. This is like old school. I don't see these anymore because I needed to get another stapler because I plan to have an office, a real office, not here, which is kind of like, for me it is, but I can't expect anybody else to be here. A staple remover is going to be very useful, even though we're at this time and age of society where it feels like everything is through the internet. Ooh, I can't stress enough how important it is to still today keep records, documents in paper format. For the time when electricity goes out, if the internet or the electricity both combined go out for a long time or something catastrophic happens, you need to have paper documents. It's easier to read them because when you look at a monitor, it causes eye damage. At the same time, it's easier for me to show a piece of paper to somebody than to open up my laptop and do all that. And there's many, many more reasons. It's very important to keep paper copies of certain things, if not necessarily all things, but you're not going to be printing out the comments of a YouTube video. You might be okay with keeping that there, but for business, for any organization, for school, it's important to keep paper documents. And then I got playing cards from Virginia Slims. Basically, what this is comes like this. It's two decks in here. One deck has been opened and one deck is still sealed. And I'm not sure what year this is, but I think this might cost something because I think this is about 20 years old. Though the cards have some sort of a, I don't know, they're kind of like, they're kind of sticky. I don't know, maybe it's the plastic, aged plastic. But these are cards that I believe were given out to somebody as a result of them smoking cigarettes, and the particular brand being Virginia Slims 120s. I don't even know if there's a thing like that. So that's some interesting photos because I already have some collection of. This is 1985. Woohoo! The year I was born. So it has some like photos of something along the lines of that. So this is 15 plus 12. This is 27 years old. One of them is unopened. Bing, 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 bing. I think I've already made some profit there. Maybe I'll go back tomorrow and see if I can buy it again. Buy whatever. You can make a lot of money going to garage sales and buying things like this, and then doing the extra time, the extra work, and finding out the price, and maybe a buyer who'd be interested in this, and using a service like eBay. Because what I have here, unopened deck that's 27 years old, might be of value to somebody who's a collector of this, because I already have 2 decks of cards. One deck was given to me by an ex-girlfriend's father, and a deck of cards where just some funny was George W. Bush uh, Jr. in like just some funny outfits, woman outfits. It was like a prankster card set. And I also have another deck of cards that was given to me as a result of me being a member of an online gambling website. Not gambling, but poker, Texas Hold'em. I tried that for a little while. Then I realized it's a total scam. So if anybody's watching this and you might at one point in your life or decide to give it a go, it, I recommend you don't. It's a scam altogether. Can people make money playing online poker, online Texas Hold'em? Yes, but there's only a few of those out of the millions who are playing that. And if that's the risk you want to take. So I got all this for $10. So just simply getting the wine journal would have been a deal for me because it's valued at $15. And the stapler is going to be useful for my operation with my campaign. And the staple remover, let me just take it out of the box and see how it actually functions. It's quite difficult to really take it out of the box. I've never used one of these before, so it might be interesting. Manufactured in China. I'm not surprised. It might be fun for me. I've never used a thing like this before. It wasn't placed properly in the box. There is some other stuff that I wanted to purchase. I might go back and purchase them tomorrow. I think they're still doing that tomorrow. It's they had some other office supplies that would be useful to me. I just came back from a bar. I decided to go out to this bar called Whiskey Pete's in Cliffside Park. It used to be open in, the business used to be in Palisades Park. And when I was 19, 20, I used to go there with an older group that I used to, I guess, hang out with. And I had a fake ID. And for the most of the time that I hung out with that group, you know, just got drunk at the bar and just drove everybody home, and we did something like that every weekend. If you're wondering, I took such a big risk. Yes, I did take a big risk in terms of I didn't kill anybody or had an accident. But then you're wondering, what about the police? Well, we had that taken care of. Because some of the people that I was with, and the way that things are, it would not have, I would not have resulted. It would, if I were to have gotten pulled over, there would have been no arrest. It's something that I'm trying to fix once things work out once I get things rolling and if I get elected, because that's not fair. What about 99% with the population? But then I don't want to talk my campaign. I want it to be personal chat. So I went out this bar because they moved locations to Cliffside Park, and I wanted to go with my friend, but he was tired, and I tried to. I asked him a couple of times, and why did I go? Well, I don't know. I wanted to meet a girl, I guess. Just feeling lonely. not necessarily all the time, but in the nights, it would be nice to meet a girl uh, or a woman, whatever. I don't know how to the terminology. I don't know. It's still strange to me. Woman. It's like such a weird word. Girl is more comfortable for me to say. Just like if I were to be called a boy, I would not be like, oh, I'm not a boy, I'm a man. No. And even then, what is it to be a man? I don't know. Though in my again, no campaign talk, personal chat. Um, so I went down. So I went there by myself, and I had a beer, and then I had another beer. So I think altogether I spent $12, which is reasonable. I had two beers, and then there was a tip. And near the end, it's 12:51. I got there I think around possibly 11, and I stayed there for about an hour. Near the end, around 12, is when girls started to show up, and I was at that point like, ugh, I don't want, because I only wanted to drink one beer, and I already had two, and then I would have maybe necessarily needed to drink more, and it just they got there so late, and I'm not very interested in going to sleep very late these days, considering that I spent a couple of years, not a couple of years, but uh, a large amount of my time going to sleep very, very, very late in the day, early, either in the late morning, 6, 7 a.m., or 11 a.m., or 12 noon time. Charlie. Or it wasn't very healthy, and I'm working very hard on fixing it, and I mean, I'm kind of going to sleep like a normal person these past few weeks. Uh, but because it was a habit, I think it'd be very easy for me to, even though I am exhausted, or I find myself exhausted, just out of pure habit. Charlie just keeps running around. He wants to play, I think. He wants to just run around. I thought I'd give you something to play with. I'm just gonna pet him. Okay, so back to the bar. So, and then near the end of my thing, I saw somebody who I went to school with, a girl, and possibly I think I met her in 7th grade, and from time to time we've talked, and I always found her to be pretty, but I was always she she always spent her time with, I thought, the wrong type of people, and not necessarily that they were bad to her, but I'm sure that they collectively as a group, or they treated each other with respect and within the group of friends and helped each other out. But these are not the people that would do the exact same thing to other people outside of their circle. And that type of, I guess there's certain people that are like that. Um, kind of like, I'll give you an example. Well, I worked with somebody once, and he said, he used to know a couple of people that were very, very bad. They did a lot of very, very bad things, but they didn't do anything bad to him because they were friends. So I guess that would be a really simple way of explaining it. Not necessarily that these people did very, very, very bad things, but uh, they're still, but I suspect these are not the people that would be the most, would be the people that are interested in, not interested, or knowledgeable, or or knowledgeable. They respect this idea that the trust, hmm, not necessarily trust, but in a working environment, or even in a professional environment, or even a personal environment, it is absolutely important that your word, when you give your word to do something, you do it, and you can be trusted. Because once you break the trust with a person, you can never get that trust back, ever. And if you break the trust with enough people, then other people who don't know you are gonna judge you because you've broken the trust of some people, and they don't want to be part of that. They don't want to take a risk with you. They don't want to give you a job. They don't want to trust you with anything. They just want you to leave. They don't want to think of, just something, it's hard to explain. Um, and I've broken that trust with one person. I can never get that person back no matter what I do with my life. I can never get that trust back. And it's not a relationship or anything. It was a personal / professional relationship I had with somebody. And there's absolutely nothing that I could do. I could um, I could solve world hunger, and that person would still not trust me. I could be the next. I could be Gandhi, and the person will still not trust me, because that's how important an idea like that is, and not everybody understands that there's an idea like that. Or so I saw her there, and I don't know. I thought about getting her a drink, and I was planning on getting her a drink just before I leave. Um, but there was an Asian couple who came over, and they asked me to move over a seat to the right, and then we would have resulted me being in front of the draft beers, and I was already there by myself without any success of seeing somebody that would be of interest to me, that I would attempt to engage a conversation with. Because while I was there, I wrote something and I emailed it to myself because I don't have a word. I'll just read it to you. It might make sense to some people, it might not make sense to anybody. The putrid, it's a combination of, before I read this, it's a combination of poetry, and it's a combination of poetry and public policy, government public policy. Putrid staleness of has-beens, has-wills, sifts through these very walls. The fruitless conversation, the stories of the past, and plans for the future that will never materialize in anything short of a half-grown senior. How do I dumb down a simple concept as you are your own destiny in the world around us? You alone can set course to sail to whatever it is you want to accomplish. This is just a rotten fabric as a result of a broken school system and the absence of an honest, accountable government in which the people in the seats of government are replaced by the fresh. Every year, X number of students graduate. Every term, some from the X replace the previous term. It keeps the progression, which results in prosperity. It keeps the demand, and it makes government one of the most riskiest career choices instead of the safest. The people are replaced. The people replaced are bestowed with profound wisdom that ensures their success in life. More people prosper under such system. Now, for somebody who's the problem is, again, I don't want to make it. I just wanted to share my poem, but just for one tiny bit of my office objectives that will need to be solved by me, or at least the idea needs to be presented for somebody to finish later on if I'm unsuccessful. The problem is within the local communities, at least Bergen County that I know of, the people live in these government elected positions of power, either a mayor or a councilman or whatever. They spend their entire lives, or they have spent their entire lives in these positions. Now, if you, for instance, take every 2 years you have a new mayor. Let's say every 2 years you have an 18-year-old who's the mayor. After 10 years, you have 5 people who are very, very competent, uh, that can step away from that and enter the world and accomplish a great deal, as opposed to having one person sit in the position of mayor for 10 years. And that's the way it should be working. It ought to be working, or maybe it was designed to be working, but it's not working that way. And then you have other positions of government. It's just not working. That's not happening, because these people, I don't know how they, I mean, I know how they did it, but I'm trying to understand if there was some deep purpose behind it that I'm unable to understand. I mean, I understand the idea of preservation, preserving something, a certain way of life, and that's fine. But preserving a way of life in government, uh, you know, I mean, some of these towns don't even have websites yet. You can't find them on the internet. They don't exist. Just, it's not, we're almost, so, before you know it, we're in the 22nd century, and government is still in some unknown era. And I'll just end it here. I don't want to talk campaign or government. I wanted this to be personal chat. Okay. So, but on my way out of the bar, I saw this very, can't say she was beautiful, but she was pretty. I'll give her that. A pretty blonde. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about blondes that I have I guess not necessarily a fetish, but I guess an attraction, an almost unconditional attraction. I don't know what it is. It doesn't necessarily need to be natural blonde. It could be dyed, whatever. It's just the color. The color really, it's quite unique. Blonde. In a world where brown, black color hair seems to be the majority. So blonde makes it kind of unique and rare. It's like not to degrade women to animals, but think of it like think of it like a shark. How rare is a shark? How often do you see a shark? Pretty rare, maybe. Or an elephant. Very rare. You can only see an elephant in the zoo. There's no wild elephants here anywhere in North America. But in Africa, I assume there's wild elephants. Oh, after this, but I mean not after this video, but after this video, yes. And when this video is uploaded, I'm gonna upload the video I did today, where I was working on my chainsaw. I wanted to do the chainsaw video many months ago, but I never got around to it. But I ended up bringing my friend Oleg, and he helped film it. The problem I've been noticing with my filming off my Droid X2 phone is that there's the audio and the video is not properly synced, so it results in the audio either ahead or behind. I'm not sure. I saw the movie. I don't want to talk movies because I've been keeping this idea in my mind to do reviews um, on movies. Just because I know that there are people who, no, no, there's different ways to get. Some people might enjoy or appreciate or they like to get reviews on certain movies on YouTube as opposed to whatever. I'm actually personally, I'm not a fan of reviews. If something comes out, I'm more of a person that once I examine it or take a look at it, I'll make my decision off that. Know when I'm browsing for a certain product, because I don't consider a movie a product, even though it is, but it's a digital thing. It's art. Art can't be a product. It could be mass produced, yes, a movie for instance, but mm, it'd be very hard to. It's mass produced off the original. You can't just keep making the redoing the original because it's always going to be different. So I've been thinking of doing that in regard to movies, just to just because people would be interested in watching that. Not all people, but some people. Some people do that. Again, it would be all under one YouTube channel, which is problematic for doing, I guess, more serious, thought out content that some people do on YouTube with great success. I've actually, well, right this very moment, um, with these videos that I have been doing recently, campaign progress, and even this very moment, I'm doing the personal chat, which is quite unique to the way I like to think of it as content, but it's more of a biography. I'm not necessarily or even bothered by the fact that if nobody actually watches it, because it's a footprint that I'm leaving behind for later in life, for somebody else to watch. Uh, Either a friend or a family member. Not necessarily this this video is gonna or any of the videos are gonna have it's gonna be some sort of a show or anything in that regard, or generally speaking a show or more objective objective driven content uh, generates an extraordinarily large audience. Yeah, I guess, yeah, that's the way. That sounds about right. Now, the people that do watch it, I have a profound belief that a great deal of learning takes place. As I share past experiences and the way that I navigated through them to get to where I am now, at least, considering examining the previous videos, which I've given some thought that might be harmful to my political ambitions or government ambitions. I hate this word political or politics. Ugh, I want to delete it, but I want to delete the word politics or political. Not political's okay, but politics. So it's good politics, it's bad politics. I don't like to talk about politics. What is there to talk? You're talking about public policy. You're talking about. It's not politics. It's just that the word has been used in such an awful way these past years, or just the word is not used. It's just it's an awful word these days. It's a negative word. It's like, oh, you're getting involved in that. Oof, good luck. Good luck with what? It's quite simple. The government. It's so simple. It's one of the simplest things in life, I think. It should be one of the simplest things in life. Really, I mean, it's not rocket science. I have that in a lot of my planned writings. The government is not rocket science. It's not medicine. Government is simpler than the heart surgery. It's really simple. The Constitution is 2 pages long, or a couple of pages long. All this nonsense in America, it's just as a result of the 2 pages and people not participating or not paying attention. I've given it some thought about this idea that I have. Make it a law. Everybody has to vote. Or somebody actually gave this funny idea. You make these public positions, elected positions, and you make them like jury duty. Jury duty. Everybody gets randomly picked, and what happens is you get a letter in the mail. It's like, oh, I have to be the governor for 4 years, and then you do it. It's all random because that's the way it is. It takes no. These public elect positions were designed to be held by the common people who know nothing. But somehow, I mean, I'm gonna have this challenge. I'm gonna have this challenge with, I think, the younger people, because as a result of them going to school, they're under the impression that they need to go to school in order to have success in life. And that's true and it's not true. It's just easier that way. You don't necessarily need to go to law school to become a lawyer. To get a medical license, I believe you do. That's good. That's a little different though. But just in that sense, you don't need to be a lawyer. You need to go to law school to become a lawyer. You don't need to go to engineering school to be an engineer. You can take the books and read them yourself and then invent things, because that's what engineers do. They invent things. This was somebody's invention. You can, a bomb, a dynamite, the atom bomb, the hydrogen bomb. I think it's the same thing. Nuclear bomb. Those are all inventions. There weren't no books for that. Somebody came up with it and figured it out, and now there are books for it, but somebody had to do the hard work and figure it out on their own through trial and error. Sociology, psychology, all these different things that you're able to study at a university or a college, somebody came up with them. And not just one person, but a multitude of people. And it's an ever-growing, ever-evolving system where more contribution is constantly made on a daily basis based off the observations, the research, the theories and the proven theories, let's say, of the people that are working in the respective fields of the school of thought, chemistry, biology, the whole thing. Somebody originally had to come up with all that and put it all together so you can go to college or you can go to a university and you can learn all these things that exist. So when you finish it, you know the basics to go out and come up with new things. I think that should be the premise, or that should be the idea behind going to college or university, so you can quickly learn the basics that somebody spent their entire life, 40, 50, 60 years of their life, uh, learning through trial and error. And now you can go to college, university, or whatever, and get all that within 4 years, 2 years, 5 years, 7 years. You can get into a master's program and have a master's degree in 5 years, and then get yourself a PhD in 2 or 3 years. So, technically, or you can get yourself in depending on what school and program that's available, but um, there are some accelerated programs that I've come across that you can get yourself a PhD in, I think, 7 years, and it's a whole package. I'm not sure though. I'm not sure. I'm kind of guessing here. I know about the master's program. There are certain packages where in 5 years you can get your master's degree, as opposed to, I think, traditionally, or the norm for it is you get your bachelor's in 4 years, and then you spend 2 years getting your master's, and then after your master's, I think it's 2 or 3 years attempting to get your PhD from your master's to your PhD. Um, yes, you can also go to learn certain information, or to acquire, certain information that you plan to use as a skill in life, to get yourself hired by some company in the private sector, or some company in the public sector. Not some company, but some government agency in the public sector. That exists, yes. They usually have a requirement, certain educational background and some experience. But ultimately, you're doing, the point of it is to find your place in life, is to find your what kind of what feels good for you, because we're all different. We all have different interests, and we all have different tastes, and there's certain things that I like that some people don't like, and there's certain things that some people don't like yet I like, or I enjoy, or I feel like like music, for instance. Usually people have different taste in music, and there's certain music that I like that some people don't like, and there's certain music that other people like and I don't like. And it's a lot of it also has to do with the way you, I guess, the way you look at life. Because even saying what I'm saying this very moment, only, well, the majority or the mainstream of the world, society, it's not something that people come to that understanding of. They kind of neglect that. Uh, for whatever reason, there's a multitude of reasons. Uh, I would like to change that in the course of my, because government can play a big role in people's lives. Uh, it affects them directly and indirectly. For instance, in the case of the public educational system, it's managed by the government, and it's most people go through it. So if it, the one I took that stuff. Personal chat. Oh, 40 minutes in. The time just flew by. I need to go to the bathroom. So I'll do this. I'm gonna smoke one more cigarette. I've gotten fond of wearing this watch, and as you can see, I have this little pin, which is a smiley face. This is the pin that was worn in the movie Watchmen, when the Joker fell off. I mean, not fell off. He was pushed off his high-rise condo, and he fell down and died. And then there was some blood on it. It's kind of like a happy pin. This was a gift from somebody, not necessarily intentional. They saw it, and I saw it, and things clicked, and it's nice. I appreciate the person who gave that to me. Oh, I'm running into some trouble finding a new apartment for myself. I don't know if I share this in some of the. I'll share this. I think this is the problem I'm running into. I think I'm scaring off the landlord or the owner by telling them that I don't have a TV, I don't have a couch, I don't care for a couch, I don't care for a TV. The living room I plan to turn into a study slash office. And that scares them, I think. And then I go into detail of why. And that even scares them even further because the places I've been finding, there's certain things that within the apartment they are not abiding by the law. There's certain things that there's a standard of an apartment or a unit of a house. There's some certain not guidelines. There are rules. Some things need to be a certain way. And the places I'm finding, they're not perfect. So maybe I'm afraid that by them bringing me in, or letting me take the 1-year lease with them, they're gonna have problems. And I'm doing the best I can, letting them know that I'm the last person in the world that will bring them problems. I'm only bringing solutions. And I don't know, they think that it's gonna cost them a lot of, because if I start complaining, then they're gonna have problems with court, and the government's gonna get involved, and it's just they're scared, I think. Because why would you not want somebody who's planning to be in a state government living inside your house? Why would you not want that? It's that it just ensures, and that does not ensure, but I mean, it's like if you have a problem, I I'm I would be the you would be the person. I would be the person. You tell me your problem, and I would solve it because I'm in part of the state government. I don't get it. Well, maybe I don't know what it is, but I don't know what it is. But because I'm quite specific on the town, and I'm very limited because I'm trying to find places that have dead-end streets. Uh, and I also do tell them that I plan on having people come by every so often, but I've started to tell them that it's not going to be any different than me having a couple of friends come over for the time being, so I can manage to raise enough money to rent out an office, a sufficient office for people to come in there and work on the campaign. Oh, I met somebody else. I'm going to see if he's going to be able to help, or at least get his contact. The person working at Staples. the technician, he's extraordinarily helpful. Um, Extraordinarily helpful. He's a very, I don't know if that's the way he is in like life, but he's just speaks very nicely. He's like he's like a devout Christian. And if we're yeah, devout Christian. He's very extraordinarily helpful. He goes out of his way to help me, and it's very rare for people to do that. Where I've brushed up against very few people who are capable of doing something like that, to go out of their way to help. And I see that with his manager, that he's kind of like, and like not fed up with it, but it bothers him. But he's the manager; he has to deal with it. And what is he? He's like it's bothering his personal side. On a management level, it's fantastic that they have somebody like that working there. But on his personal side, it makes him feel less because he's unable to do something like that or have this energy to give it 110%. He can help me with computer stuff, even though I'm quite knowledgeable, but he is more knowledgeable. Uh, and getting things cheaper, getting better things but cheaper. For instance, he gave me a website where I can buy RAM for my computer much cheaper than I could before. I didn't know there was such a thing, and because of the nature of his work, he has uh, licenses from, let's say, Microsoft, where he gets certain software for free, and he has resources to Microsoft. In the same way that I have certain resources with Google that an average person might not have. I have resources with Google. I'm not licensed, but there's resources that are available for me to use uh, or given to me. Hard to explain. With Google, it's quite. They don't make it meaning you're like some special type of person. No, you just get involved with making YouTube videos, and you begin to see what really is available, and it's extraordinarily helpful for a multitude of for business, for nonprofit, for etc. Because I feel like one of the best things in life to do is to be your own person and do your own work. You're not hired by somebody. You don't work for somebody. You work for yourself. And you decide what you're worth, what your time is worth, what your skills are worth, and you sell that to people in the business, in the private sector. In the public sector, it's quite different. I don't know the I can't say enough. I don't know. I know very little of the public sector. But in the public sector, you're guaranteed purpose. Some people have that problem in life where they have that concern. They don't want to satisfy in their life. They want their life's efforts and their life's work, whatever it is that they're doing, to have meaning and to have purpose, to have some sort of a contribution to society. Uh, yeah, you can own 5 McDonald's, or 5 Burger Kings, or 5 Wendy's. You can make a lot of money, but mm, unless you do something extra, I, I can't say that you're gonna have the sense, the sense of feeling that you're making a contribution to life. unless unless you examine it philosophically, because you have people who work for you and they have a living. That's a plus. People are able to have a family and provide for their family because of you. You might offer some scholarships. There are just, you have to look at it a certain way, I guess. I guess you just, certain things you have to look at it a certain way to find that purpose, or to find that sense of satisfaction, because that's important. A lot of people neglect that these days. You see it in the mornings when people are on their way to work and they look miserable. Why are they miserable? Why are they going to work if they're miserable? Yeah, they could have just woken up and be like, oh, but they should feel, I don't know, maybe it just seems that way for me. Around here, it just seems a lot of people are miserable. Because I believe New Jersey, 60% of the workforce or the work is in the service sector, which means doctors, lawyers, people cutting hair, people not necessarily, so 60% of the service, uh, people aren't actually producing a certain product or inventing a certain tangible thing. They're just providing a service. They're just selling their time because of the knowledge that they have in their head. The problem I have with this watch is it's fantastic how it opens. I press this button, right? I need to unhook it. Come on. I press this button, it opens up, and it sits very well on me, but it's hard to remove it. And I could make it looser so I can put the watch on easier, and I can remove the watch much easier, but then it's going to be loose on my wrist where it's going to dangle, and I don't want it to dangle. I'm not quite sure how it runs. If there's a battery or not, because there's no way. Yeah, it might run on a battery, but I'm very comfortable. It's a comfortable watch because of this. This makes it very comfortable. I don't like a metal all around my wrist. It's not comfortable. Anyways, I'm going to end it here. I'm going to go to the bathroom. Um, no, I have faith that I'll meet somebody for myself. Not necessarily to be my wife or anything extraordinarily serious like that, but a girlfriend would be good for me. But I just need to spend a little bit of time uh, with that. But I can't get too involved with spending all my time with that, because there's a great deal of work that I need to accomplish. And one of the most important things that I need to do is to not have a relationship as a result of somebody contributing their efforts to the campaign. I cannot fall into that. It's a trap in the long run. It's a trap in the long run. It's a very, very, very bad thing in the long run. In the short run, yeah, it might be fantastic that somebody is working for me. and then there's a relationship. But in the long run, it's very, 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 very bad. So I need to have that distinct rule that there's absolutely no fraternizing. Fraternizing, I can't pronounce it properly. None whatsoever. You cannot have that in the long run. It's very bad. Because one bad thing undoes all the good that you do. One scandal, one person that is hurt in the process of attempting to do a great deal of good undoes all the great good because one person was hurt. It just it can't. At the same time, it distracts you. It distracts the person. They need to be focused. They need to be like a horse that wears those eye covers so they don't get distracted or scared by everything to the left and right of them, like cars and people. Ooh. All right. Okay. I'm gonna write in the book though. Maybe tomorrow though. I'm tired.